here with Tabitha Turner, Tabby, from Hot 97 radio station, who is a blogger and also a fashion enthusiast and very active in Hot 97. And we are glad to have you here. Tabby, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm excited.
Okay. Yes. So she's a blogger for that'snuff.com. You guys can get her blogs there and also see her on doing some footwork at Fashion Week that just passed.
Yeah.
So this is an interview I was looking forward to because Tabby is also, you know, a part of Mount Vernon. She's from Mount Vernon as well as myself. And did I say I'm Angel Inspires? I'm Angel Inspires. Okay, so we'll get started with the interview. And the speaking points are your background, self-love, pleasing personality, initiative and leadership, and internal and external forces. Now, the purpose for these interviews are for outreach purposes, so that the community and, you know, whoever's watching knows the importance of perseverance, community, self-awareness, and, you know, other things that can help them grow and build an empire, you know, to be successful in. Now, so as we mentioned earlier, Tabby is a writer-blogger for Hot 97 on that'snuff.com, and she also considers herself to be a lover of all things that feed the soul. And she acknowledges no limits. So tell us what growing up was like for you, and how did you gain that mindset of, you know, having no limits?
Growing up, my childhood consisted of a lot of hard work, believe it or not. Like, sometimes I kind of felt like I didn't really get to experience a normal childhood, but I'm still so grateful for the route that I did experience, because it taught me so much. It taught me so much about, you know, being self-reliant and just pretty much just going out there and being responsible for yourself and doing whatever you want to do. My mom owned a restaurant for about, I want to say 12 years of my life. So I think I was about 7 to maybe like 17, 18, around that area. So I trust me, I worked my ass off. Like, I'm talking literally coming home from school and like getting in there, helping her out, because it was a self-oriented business. It wasn't really, she didn't really hire strangers like that to help out. When it wasn't me or my older sisters or my younger sister, it was like my aunt or my cousin. So, I mean, at the time, it was kind of hard for me to accept for a long time, because it's just like, really, I want to go out with my friends, I want to go to the movies, I want to do a lot of stuff. But I'm still glad that I got to experience that, because I learned at an early age that you have to work hard for what you want.
Yeah, that's nice. Hard work. Hard work.
Yeah, a lot.
So, as a fashion extraordinaire and a music enthusiast, who were some of your favorites growing up, and what made them different from anyone else that were in the same categories as them?
As far as music goes, I loved everything Alicia Keys when I was like 7, 8 years old. Because I used to listen to my older sister's CD-ROM back in the day, the headphone. I used to scratch a CD all the time. And she used to be like, who listening to myself? Me, I don't know. So, you know, you had to clean it off with alcohol, try to make sure to get the scratches out, so when number 8 plays, it's not like But anyway, I loved Alicia Keys. I loved a lot of old school soul music. I loved a lot of reggae, because I'm Jamaican, so I played a lot in my childhood, like anything like Beres Hammond, like, you know, soulful music about love, and music that you play when you're cleaning your house.
Yeah.
Lauryn Hill, I would say, is my all-time favorite artist, just because of what she stood for and everything she promoted through her music. So yeah, and as far as fashion goes, honestly, when I was younger, anything fashion, I didn't really have one specific person or people that I looked up to. It was just like whatever looked cute, and I was always big on being yourself. Wear what you want to wear. Don't listen to what anybody else has to say. So yeah.
So they told me today that I look like I could stop traffic with this, you know, but I happen to love it.
You look nice. You always got to bring a bold color when you're wearing basic colors.
Yeah.
So you did good.
Thank you.
I like.
See, I'm getting fashion.
And I like the hair too. I really do. I like the hair.
Yeah, I love Oprah. So that brings us to point 2, which is self-love. So I read an article you wrote called "Having Nobody is Better Than Just Having Anybody," based off of an article you read in Essence magazine, in which a dating coach named Tana encountered a stranger going through relationship woes. And in this article, you expressed to the readers that they don't have to succumb to society's pressure or ideal belief that being in a relationship is essential, even if we are not aware of how to be in a relationship. I agree with this. Please tell us why it is essential to be single, selective, and mostly about you first, as you also mentioned in the article.
Why it's okay to be selfish when it comes to your peace of mind? Because it's your peace of mind. I mean, there's really not much to it. I just feel like you have to always make a space for your peace of mind, for spiritual freedom. And I feel like being in toxic relationships or just relationships with no meaning can cloud that. Can cloud your mind, can cloud your spirit, and most importantly, cloud your heart. So I'm just like, I tell my friends all the time, and I tell myself all the time, it's just like, it's all right to be by yourself if you don't find what you want. It's okay to go to sleep by yourself if the person you're laying next to is of no value and of no use to you.
Right. Yeah.
And I've just been promoting that ever since I figured out that works for me. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've accomplished would have never been accomplished had I had somebody there that was not help motivating me or providing me with tools, not even just, you know, financial stuff or anything tangible. You know what I'm saying? It's the intangible stuff that you can't touch, stuff that you need to hear, stuff that you need to see that kind of helps you and motivates you to get up every day and be like, you know what, I have someone supporting me. So let me do this, if not for myself, for them. You know? If you don't have that in your life, you don't need nothing else. Because I feel like that's the most valuable thing anybody can have right now.
That's beautiful words. I mean, it inspires me. It helps me being, you know, a single woman who is also very hardworking, you know. Yeah. So as a young woman, some of us were not taught, you know, self-love or how to love ourselves due to, you know, parents who also weren't taught it. So it became a chain, you know, and passed along the line of, you know, not knowing how to love ourselves. And other times we have to fail our way to learning self-love. If we're not taught it, we also fail our way. So what helped you discover the love for yourself? Did you always have it?
No. I must admit that. Especially when I was younger. I was a very awkward kid. Like, for a while, it took me a while to figure out what I liked as opposed to what everybody liked on me. Or what everybody else rather me to do or rather me to be. So I would say, and it didn't take much failure either. I would say it took a lot of reading and just like, you know, being alone with myself. Yeah. And trying stuff that I liked and seeing which one worked better for me. That kind of made me develop a self-love for myself. Like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I don't need nobody to tell me I can do this. I can do this. And I love myself for it because I believe in me. Right. And I don't need anybody else to do that for me. And I also, my friends, like my best friend, I would say, we grew up together. So she knows, like, we know each other's downfall. We know each other's criticism towards ourselves. We know, and it's just to see us grow together and just become separate women in whatever we decide to do. It's a beautiful thing and it's motivating. So I'd say that a lot of people all the time, they say, oh, I don't need friends. Nobody can be in this world alone. Whether if it's a friend, a family member, a soulmate, you gotta have that one person that's there for you.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's hard to find, I must say. I lucked up early.
Yeah.
It's hard to find, but just don't shut that out of your life. Let that, if you didn't find that yet, let that be a void that needs to be filled. Don't shut it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it totally.
And so those help me with discovering self-love.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I'm looking to fill my void.
Yes.
But yeah, self-love is definitely necessary in fulfilling everything you have to do in life, because you can't give externally what you don't have internally.
Right.
And so, pleasing personality, I love Tabby's personality. I must say, when I first met her, she was one of the most welcoming people I've ever met. And so, you have an article called communication 101 that you wrote on tones and mannerisms in which we express ourselves. And I thought to myself, she's perfect, to take advice from on an article like this. And so you said that most of the time we are unconscious, and that's a very important word, of how we may come off during the heat of the moment. And sometimes we use, I didn't mean it that way, or maybe that person is too sensitive to justify our wrong words and tones. From your experience, what is the most important, why is it important to have a pleasing personality?
It's important to have a pleasing personality because politeness can open the doors to a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I've learned that. That happened for me. Just smiling and being courteous and considerate of other people's feelings, that goes a long way. And it's funny, when I wrote that article, it was like on the other shoe. I felt guilty about something. So I reflected on myself and I'm like, you know what?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a situation that had happened that weekend, and I remember when I got into work Monday morning, I was like, I'm going to write this article up because it's therapeutic for me and I feel like it can help other people. It was a situation where I was involved with a guy, and it was just like the way I was talking to him about something. I wasn't mad at him for nothing, but I was just taking out my anger on him about something else, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, and that wasn't the first time I did that. So I was like, you know what, let me reflect on that. Of course, I apologized and everything was fixed, but I just felt like I needed to share that story in a way that other people can see it as their self. Instead of making it personal, I was like, let me just put that out there to let everyone know that, hey, maybe you are guilty of this too, yeah. Or maybe you're a victim of this, and here's what you can do. So that's the place I was in when I wrote that. So I feel like being polite and just being courteous and considerate of other people's feelings, whether you know them for 20 years or for 2 days, is very important because you don't know what that person could be for you in the future or right now.
Yeah, I had to learn it too. I used to have believe it or not, I used to have a very bad attitude, very bad. But that was because I didn't know how to deal with what was going on inside. And so it very much so displayed outwardly. So now when you say unconscious of how we may come off, what do you mean? What are some examples of a person who is not conscious of, their choice of words and attitude?
When they think that behavior is normal, so they don't think anything is wrong with it. Like I tell my younger sister all the time, like, sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, all right, even saying the word what can have several different meanings, yeah. Right or wrong.
Yeah.
So it's just like sometimes you gotta relax, tone it down a bit, and just take time to think of the way you're expressing yourself and what you're saying to someone. And it's not that people are sensitive. I mentioned that in the article. Mm-hmm. It's just the way you say it sometimes. And yeah.